Today I'm going to walk you through my watercolor painting. Walk board on the lake, focusing on atmospheric perspective and how we create depth through color, value, and edges. Before I begin painting, I always test my colors on a separate sheet. For this scene, I mix the main families I see: warm yellows, oranges, and soft pinks for the glowing sunset, muted purples and gentle violets for the clouds, cool blue-greens and turquoise for the lake, earthy browns and grays for the wooden walkboard, and soft greens and mossy tones for the shoreline vegetation. I test each mixture to see how light or dark it is, how it reacts when diluted, and how the pigments blend on wet paper. I tape my watercolor paper to a board so it stays flat and clean. Then I work from the top downward to let gravity guide the flow of the washes without disturbing finished areas. I begin with the sky, the emotional center of the painting. I wet the sky area and drop in warm yellows and oranges around the sun, letting them bloom softly across the paper. As the sky expands outward, I shift into light pinks and violets and then into deeper purples and indigo tones at the top. The clouds soften naturally through wet into wet blending, creating that luminous, glowing atmosphere. Next, I move into the distant landscape. The far hills and tree lines are painted with very soft greens, grays, and muted purples. These colors are intentionally light and low in contrast, so the shapes fade gently into the horizon, and the fanned perspective guides this choice. Distant objects should feel hazy and less defined. Moving closer into the midground, I increase the color strength slightly. The water reflects the sky with streaks of gold, coral, and soft lavender near the horizon, gradually transitioning into calm blue-greens as it moves forward. The reflections become lighter and more diffused as they recede, helping the viewer sense the distance across the lake. The midground trees along the shore are painted with subdued greens and simplified shapes, so they don't compete with the foreground. In the foreground, I use the richest contrast. The wooden walkboard is painted with layered browns, warm siennas, deep grays, and hints of green moss. I use firmer brush strokes and sharper edges here, because the dock is the closest element in the painting. The posts along the sides are darker and more defined, creating a strong anchor for the viewer. The plants around the walkboard use deeper greens and more bristle strokes to create texture and life in this front area. For the lake surface, I lay down smooth turquoise and blue washes, adjusting the values from light in the distance to slightly darker in the foreground. To paint reflections, I pull the colors downward with a damp brush and soften the edges so the water feels calm and natural. There are two ways I lighten colors in watercolor. I dilute pigments with more water to create transparent, airy washes. This is perfect for the sky, the distant hills, and the soft edges of the reflections. I also lighten by tinting, adding a touch of white gouache when I want stronger highlights on the dock or bright glimmers along the water's surface. Once the painting is dry, I add final touches. Crisp highlights on the wood, subtle sparkles in the water, and gentle adjustments in the clouds to keep the glow of the sunset strong. I avoid adding detail to the background so the depth remains believable. In Walkboard on the Lake, depth is created by three main ideas: light, cool, soft colors in the distance, richer, darker colors up close, and a gradual transition from hazy edges to sharp ones as we move forward in the scene. Layer by layer, these choices guide the viewer from the solid walkboard into the glowing horizon.